Come on, it's fine to use the celebration money for a bit. It's my celebration too, after all, she exclaimed with confidence, making an outrageous comment. Her parents' unmistakably disapproving faces were quite memorable. My name is Marka. This year I finally turned 60, and now I'm going to tell you about something that happened when I was 50. Back then, my son Arnold, whom I had raised single-handedly, had become independent, and I was enjoying my newfound freedom. Just when I thought I had it all figured out, Arnold introduced me to a woman he wanted to marry. She was 25, 5 years younger than Arnold. My first impression of her was striking. She was slender and beautiful, a lady with a serene and calm aura. I couldn't help but wonder, could such a gorgeous and seemingly perfect woman really become Arnold's wife? A side note here, Arnold looks a lot like me, not the most handsome, or rather, he has a face with character. Despite that, Arnold, being very attentive and kind, always had a girlfriend. Surprisingly enough, feeling a bit uneasy about the mismatch between the beautiful woman and Arnold, I still felt a burst of pride that such a girl had chosen my son. After chatting with her for a while, I said, "I've prepared dinner. Please have some before you leave," and laid out the evening meal. That's when she exclaimed in a slightly bewildered tone, "Oh, steak." "You don't like it?" I asked. "No, it's not that." On that day, determined to treat my future daughter-in-law to something special, I splurged and ordered delivery from a renowned restaurant. The menu included gratin steak and pasta. I had chosen these after confirming any allergies with Arnold. But seeing the steak, Sissy's expression visibly clouded. I didn't want to force her to eat something she disliked. I was aiming to build a relationship where we could speak freely about anything. After all, one of the reasons I divorced my ex-husband was the poor relationship with my mother-in-law. I didn't want to put Arnold's wife through the same ordeal. "You can be honest if there's something you don't like," I said. "No, it's okay," she replied. "Don't force yourself. It's okay to leave some," I insisted. "Thank you," she smiled as she said this, but her smile seemed slightly unnatural. I felt a hint of disgust in her expression. In the end, she only ate a bit of the pasta, didn't touch anything else, and left after taking some supplements she brought. From what I heard, those supplements were for reducing fat absorption after meals and preventing swelling by eliminating salt and some vitamins. She apparently talked about these supplements more enthusiastically than she talked about Arnold. When I later asked Arnold about it, he said she was very conscious about her beauty. It turns out that Arnold and she met because they attended the same gym. She was known there for her strict regimen. Since they started dating, they never went out to eat, partly because Arnold often got home late. They primarily had dates at Arnold's apartment, where he lived alone. The meals were often prepared by her, who brought her own ingredients. Come to think of it, the menu was always healthy. Maybe she was subtly avoiding dining out because of the calorie counting. "Would you like to go out sometimes?" Arnold asked. The invitation was always met with, "You're too tired." After all, it seems that this was her gentle way of declining. Arnold concluded that she didn't eat the prepared food because it would exceed her daily calorie intake. She avoided dining out not to exceed her calorie limit. That's why she cooked calculated healthy meals for Arnold at home. Arnold, not thinking much about it since she was the one cooking, didn't realize she was controlling calories to such an extent, and didn't mind her taking supplements after meals at home. After expressing this, Arnold said, "I guess we should have dined out occasionally." I realized then that Arnold also felt somewhat uneasy about Sissy's behavior. During our family meeting later, Arnold kept defending her, saying, "But she's got a good personality, and she's a thoughtful, nice girl," as if to reassure himself. Taking supplements? What's the big deal, right? But that's not the point. Our unease wasn't about that. If she left the carefully prepared food untouched just for calorie counting, despite her considerate behavior, didn't she fundamentally lack the understanding of how to be truly considerate? I had said it was okay to leave food, and I meant it, but this made me feel uncertain about getting along with Arnold. He probably vaguely realized he had upset me and was feeling uneasy about it. Is calorie counting a matter of different values? I felt a bit anxious about finding a resolution that would satisfy both parties. Arnold and Sissy later registered their marriage. They have a wedding ceremony planned in 2 months. I was worried about potential value conflicts, but they've made it this far. It must be all right. My worries were probably overthinking. I decided to leave it to the younger generation. Then one day, suddenly, she came to our house. When I showed her to the living room, she pulled out a box of a well-known diet smoothie from her bag, saying, "This is what I was talking about. I thought you might want to try it." "Oh, thank you. I'll give it a try," I replied. "Is a diet drink something you give as a gift? Is this normal for young people these days?" Ignoring my dumbfounded expression, she kept pulling out box after box of supplements from her bag. "This is tea that helps break down fat, and this is a superfood high in dietary fiber. This one is, what's all this?" I almost blurted it out. "This isn't all for a gift, is it?" But I swallowed the words, thinking they might be too sharp. "I know it's none of my business, but I really want you to start a diet focused on supplements, Marcia." "Excuse me?" "You were so slim in the photo from your 30s that you showed me with Arnold." "Oh, well, yes. Back then, as a single mother, I was fighting against society's cold stares, constantly working hard while taking care of Arnold. I gave my own food to Arnold, so I was indeed quite thin, almost to the point of being gaunt. Even though you've aged, Marcia, you're still a woman. I don't want you to give up on beauty." What do you mean?" "I don't remember giving up on beauty." "Wait, is this a roundabout way of saying I'm unattractive?" "I'm sorry to say this, but you are too heavy. I've been concerned about it for a while." "What?" I couldn't believe my ears. I am aware that I'm about 11 lbs over the average weight for my age group, but losing more weight would only make the wrinkles on my face more noticeable. When I was younger, being thin was more flattering since I had no wrinkles. But now, it's hard for my face to retain fat, and for some reason, it's the first place where I lose weight. As a result, when I lose weight, various face wrinkles become more pronounced, and my skin loses its firmness. Aging is scary. When young, being slim is better. But with age, it can make you look older. Something she doesn't seem to understand yet. Well, that's expected. "Mara, let's aim for your physique from your 30s. Don't worry, I'll support you. If you follow my advice, you'll definitely lose weight." What to do? I still want to get along with my son's wife, but I have no desire to lose weight. Maybe, in that sense, I have given up on beauty, as she says. But I'm past the age of romance, and more than beauty, I want to enjoy a modest life. So beauty isn't a priority for me. Is being thin the only right way? Who decided that? Who decided that anything other than being thin is not okay? Everyone is different, and that's perfectly fine. Needless to say, this thought stirred more turmoil within me. I appreciate your concern, but I'm sorry. I'm satisfied with myself as I am. Really satisfied with that appearance? Impossible. Excuse me. I must have been glaring at her with a dead serious face. I was torn between wondering if I had misheard and wanting to confront her. I've survived the struggles of single parenthood with a fighting spirit. I was about to take up the challenge, but then I remembered she was Arnold's fiancée and calmed myself. No, I must cool down. I must have misheard. Surely, maybe, probably. To be confident with your appearance is, in a way, impressive. I couldn't walk outside looking like that. Well, I walk outside with this face every day. Being in that state is like wearing shame. Are you so used to being overweight that it doesn't bother you anymore? It's a serious situation. Shame educates people. If you don't want to be embarrassed, you can elevate yourself. Come on, Marcia, acknowledge your embarrassment. She lectured me like a teacher scolding a wayward girl. Though her tone was polite, her words were commanding. This was the first time I had been hit with such heavy blows, one after another, delivered so courteously. Her polite manner made it seem as if she meant no harm, which was confusing. But even if there was no malice, it was still problematic. "That's it, Mara. Let's go for cosmetic surgery. I'll accompany you." Suggesting plastic surgery as if it's a casual outing? Isn't this a bit too much? I wanted to yell at her, but she is my son's fiancée. Stay calm, Mara. As I said before, I'm satisfied with myself. It's not about looks. I'm confident in my way of life and my choices. I meant every word. I might have failed in my marriage, but I raised Arnold well, and even as a high school dropout, I managed to secure this house. When I became a single mother, I was scorned by my own relatives, but now I'm recognized as a respectable mom. Looks may be important, but I pride myself on having a noble and beautiful inner self. I don't care what anyone says. However, she blatantly frowned upon hearing this. Sorry, but I don't understand. Are you serious? I was more than a little irritated. Being judged for my lifestyle was more intolerable than any comments about my appearance. Is that so? Then please don't attend our wedding so as not to ruin it. What? You might not care, but I can't bear the thought of others knowing you're my mother-in-law. It would turn our big day into an ordeal. What? This girl? How can she so unashamedly keep calling me an embarrassment? After all, I'm the only mother of your husband, you know. I'm sorry, but that makes no sense. I'm Arnold's only parent. Are you asking me to let my son have a wedding without his parent? That would be sad. What are you saying? Arnold must feel unbearable about having a parent like you at his wedding. He just doesn't say it. Did Arnold say that? If he did, I'll stay away. He's my precious son, but if it's just your request, I can't comply. You don't need to say it. We're a couple planning to spend our lives together. It should be obvious. What's that? As a mother, I should know my son's feelings. He wouldn't be happy with a wedding where I can't celebrate. What are you talking about? You can celebrate. Express your good wishes with a gift. A minimum of $10,000 would be enough. Are you out of your mind? I slammed the table and stood up. You're the one who's crazy, Mara. You're selfishly ruining Arnold's big day. I'd hoped you'd lose weight voluntarily, but now with the wedding close, having someone who lacks self-control as a relative is unbearable. I wish we could cut ties. If not, the only way to hide your existence is for you to miss family gatherings. Please understand the feelings of someone who has to say such difficult things. Sissy's eyes, full of defiance, were very serious. She genuinely thought I was an embarrassment and believed Arnold felt the same but couldn't say it, making her look like a victim. I believed Arnold couldn't possibly think that. But when somebody confidently confronts you with such a flawed theory, you start to wonder if they might have some basis for their words. This can't be true, but if it is, I'm the one who's wrong. I felt shaken, unsure what to do, but there's no point worrying about uncertain outcomes. My strengths are quick adaptability and decisiveness. All right, I'll ask Arnold myself. When I said that, I quickly took out her mobile phone and started calling Arnold. Hello, sorry to bother you at work. If only she'd put it on speaker mode. I can't hear what Arnold is saying. I'm at your mom's house right now. I came to tell Mara to diet and get cosmetic surgery. I heard Arnold's surprised voice for a moment, probably saying, what? Or, huh? I know it's embarrassing for you if Mara attends the wedding. I told her in your place. Yes, that's right, she replied. She refused both the surgery and diet, so I thought we'd have her miss the wedding and express her congratulations with a gift. I was scared to hear how smoothly the conversation between and Arnold was going. Could Arnold really agree with at that moment? I received an email on my mobile phone. It was from Arnold's computer email address. I've woken up. What should I do about the marriage? I immediately replied, get a divorce. Continued talking on the phone. Of course, Mara said it wasn't true. I'm relieved. I thought I was overstepping. Another email from Arnold came in. Don't believe what she said on the phone. I'm just agreeing with her to keep the peace. I replied, understood. I told Arnold we should discuss the details later, as constantly typing emails might arouse Sissy's suspicion. The phone conversation between and Arnold, listening to only Sissy's voice, it seemed that Arnold was agreeing with her, saying, I was also embarrassed by Mom's attendance. I see, that's what it is. Good thinking, Arnold. I'll do the same. Anticipating Arnold's likely strategy, I smirked. So, Marcia, Arnold says that he's embarrassed by your attendance, so he wants you not to come, said triumphantly. I had to act convincingly, so I played along. I'm shocked to think he felt that way about me. As I looked downcast and responded, nodded vigorously, patting my shoulder and saying, "Everyone is blind to their own flaws indeed. This young girl in front of me seems to be unaware of her own shortcomings. Don't worry. We'll fully accept your gift as a gesture of celebration. I have to prepare dinner, so I'll leave for today." Understood. With that left. Of course, that night, Arnold came to our house, pretending to work overtime to hold a strategy meeting, and then left. It was a secret learning moment for me that overtime could be used as an excuse for reasons other than infidelity. After brainstorming together, my plan was chosen. All that was left was to wait for the wedding day. On the day of the wedding, had expressed a desire to spend the day before with her family, so both she and Arnold were at their respective homes that morning. Therefore, Arnold and I went together to Sissy's family home early in the morning. When we rang the doorbell, Sissy's mother, Caddy, welcomed us warmly, saying, "So nice of you to come before the ceremony." As a mother myself, it pained me a bit, but it was necessary. Expecting to meet Arnold at the venue, was visibly shaken to see him appear suddenly, and even more so to find me, who was supposed to miss the ceremony, standing beside him. "What's going on?" she asked. Arnold calmly presented her with a piece of paper. "I want a divorce." The moment Arnold said that, both Caddy and repeated several times, "What? Why at that moment?" both Kat and Polly exclaimed. Sissy's father seemed stunned at first, but then quickly composed himself and demanded of Arnold, "What do you mean?" "It seems she dislikes my mother. I can't see a future with someone like that." "Do you prefer your mother over your wife? If you're a mama's boy, we don't want you either," Polly angrily retorted, and Kathy stood there dumbstruck. "If my own wife speaks ill of my mother, saying she's fat, embarrassing, and should not attend the wedding or get plastic surgery, wouldn't it be normal to dislike such a wife? Or are you too okay with being in this position? Is that the kind of daughter you want? If valuing the parent who raised me over an unreasonable wife is being a mama's boy, then I am one. If my mother had harassed my wife, I would have cut ties with her. I'm just siding with what's right. Am I wrong?" Arnold spoke fluidly. Watching Arnold speak so fluently, I felt a bit moved, thinking about how much he had grown. The child who used to walk holding my hand was now standing in front of me, taking a stand for what's right despite the struggles and challenges. I was truly glad to have given birth to and raised this child. "You wouldn't say such things. Stop lying." At that moment, Polly shouted over him, "Why? You also said you were embarrassed by Marcia." Just as Polly was about to argue that she would never say such unreasonable things herself, Sissy admitted to her own outrageous remarks. Polly turned to her in surprise. "That was an act. I've been communicating with my mother, and my phone conversation with you was all lies," Arnold revealed. "So you deceived me?" Sissy exclaimed. "It turns out that way, but don't you think you're responsible too?" "Why? I'm not wrong. If Mara came to the wedding, everyone would laugh." "No. My mother is well known among my friends and acquaintances. She's a bit of a local celebrity, so being laughed at is impossible. The reception might even turn into a reunion." "That can't be. Moreover, I don't have friends who would mock my parent," Arnold stated firmly. Seeing Sissy's silence, her parents seemed to start realizing that mine and Arnold's stance was correct. "Why? Why would you do such a thing?" Polly repeated in disbelief, his expression becoming stern. I was worried that our claims might not be accepted since we hadn't recorded Sissy's harsh words. But fortunately, she had created a disadvantageous situation for herself. "But why bring divorce papers on the wedding day? That's the worst." Sissy's tearful plea left everyone speechless. Did she really think she could get compensation? "We'll still have the wedding. I won't sign the divorce papers. I won't let us separate." Sissy sounded like a petulant child. The composed woman from the family meeting was nowhere to be seen. Her parents turned away as if embarrassed by her. Sissy, who had repeatedly called me an embarrassment, was now the source of embarrassment to her own parents. Unfazed, I spoke the truth. "There won't be a wedding or reception today." "What?" Sissy exclaimed. "You think we'd keep the wedding as planned if we decided to divorce?" "What do you mean?" "We canceled the ceremony long ago. Maybe I should ask for the cancellation fee as compensation for you wanting to disinherit me." "What are you saying? You canceled it because you wanted to separate. If I don't agree, then you should pay the compensation and cancellation fee." At that moment, there was a sharp slap. Kathy had struck Sissy's cheek. "Enough already, Mom." Sissy held her cheek, stunned. "I've been listening, and it's clear you're in the wrong, and now you're asking for money, which is disgraceful. Divorce is only natural," Kathy said, and then turned to Arnold and me, bowing her head in apology. She forced Sissy to bow too, and Polly followed suit. "Wait, Mom, Dad, isn't wanting a wonderful wedding normal? I asked Mara not to attend, but I didn't want her not to celebrate with us." "That's right. You didn't say not to celebrate. You said you'd accept it as a gesture of celebration if I wrapped at least $10K as a gift, right?" I said this with a smile to Sissy, who was screaming like a madwoman. My revelation left her parents looking at me, their faces pale. "And that $10K, you were planning to use it for cosmetic surgery like a cheek lift, weren't you?" "What?" Arnold's further revelation shocked the parents. After they exclaimed, both parents fixed their gaze on Sissy. Unable to meet her parents' eyes, Sissy remained looking down. "I heard you on the phone booking cosmetic surgery, and I overheard you telling a friend you'd use some of the gift money for facial maintenance," Arnold continued. Sissy's face quickly turned red. She was probably embarrassed that her husband Arnold, of all people, knew about her plans. "So what's wrong with wanting to be a beautiful wife? It's just removing wrinkles with surgery, and using a bit of the gift money for it is fine. It's also for my celebration." Puffing out her chest, Sissy made this outrageous claim confidently. Her parents, evidently embarrassed by her, held their heads in their hands. Sissy initially had adamantly refused to divorce. However, after being repeatedly scolded by her parents, she finally signed the divorce papers. Her parents kept apologizing to us, saying, "We're sorry for tarnishing Arnold's family name because of our daughter." When she signed the papers, she seemed to finally realize it was over and tearfully apologized to Arnold and me. She kept begging, "Please reconsider, don't leave me." But it was too late. Arnold did not change his mind, and later filed the divorce papers at the office. Regarding the cancellation fees and the cost of the rings, her parents understood it was their responsibility to pay, and we were fully reimbursed. Strictly speaking, we were refunded not only the expected amount, but also an additional sum. According to her parents, it was considered compensation after the divorce was forced by her parents. She had to quit her job and move to Burlington to live with her grandmother. Sissy's parents, believing that her obsession with beauty stemmed from her glamorous city life, apparently decided to send her to live with her grandmother on a farm, immersing her not in glitter but in the muddier aspects of life. This way, they thought she would stop comparing her appearance with others. Moreover, with mostly elderly people around and no such targets for comparison, they believed that her excessive beauty consciousness would likely subside, if even reluctantly. Additionally, Sissy's dislike of insects and her tendency toward germophobia would make it even more challenging for a person raised entirely in the city. There would be nothing to like in Burlington. "That's quite a harsh punishment," Arnold laughed. Currently, Arnold, unable to give up on marriage, regularly attended events for divorced individuals, where he met and married a woman. Interestingly, this woman was fuller-figured than I am. Although I knew Arnold didn't choose his former wife for her looks, I never expected him to remarry someone so different. However, she's a kind and gentle wife, and now they are blessed with a son and a daughter. This Valentine's Day, I plan to make chocolates with my grandchildren for Arnold. We're also planning to go to the pool with Arnold's family and the grandkids this summer, making up for the last 2 years we've missed due to the pandemic. I'm a little apprehensive about being invited to the water slide. I worry about whether my aging hips can handle it, but I'll give it a go. Surrounded by my beloved son Arnold, his wife, and adorable grandchildren, I am happy